First of all, there is going to be cable median barrier installed on 2 sections of K-10 that have experienced a high number of crossover median crashes. Those 2 locations include a 2-mile stretch adjacent to the K-7 interchange and a 2-mile stretch between Church Street and 10th Street interchanges in Eudora. We'll begin immediately to put projects together to place those cable median barriers in those 2 sections. Typically, it would take us, based on our past experience in putting together projects for the cable median barrier, it would take us approximately 9 months from the time we start to have a project that's ready to let to construction. We're going to look at some ways to maybe compress that schedule a little bit on these 2 sections. Obviously, everyone's interested in trying to get a project out there as quickly as possible. No guarantees, but we'll try to compress that time frame, something shorter than the 9 months. Just for information purposes, we expect that estimated cost for installing cable median barrier on those 2 sections to be $800,000. But I'll also say from the very beginning, and it's still true today, that cost was never an issue for KDOT. Doing the right thing based on all the information, based on all the factors would need to be considered was what was most important for KDOT. 2, the next thing we'll do is, as tasked, KDOT will continue to work towards cable median barrier approach that includes review of all the appropriate factors and ultimately a policy that includes all those appropriate factors as we decide where it is that is appropriate for cable median barrier placements. In doing that, we're in the process now of reviewing thousands of crash reports to find specific information related to crossover median crashes across the state and looking at sections within our state highway system where it looks like it appropriate based on the accident data. We'll continue to use Dr. Sicking from the University of Nebraska to help with this effort. And like I said, we'll continue to review the most current statistics, the most current crash reports to continue that effort. 3, the committee recommends and KDOT will pursue to designate this K-10 corridor as a highway safety corridor to provide for more enforcement and increased fines. Just as a clarification, a designated highway safety corridor is a segment of state highway that's been identified as having a higher than average incident of fatal or serious injury crashes. Highway safety corridor designation, once it's applied to a section of road, allows us to do things like, as I said, increase fines, increase the enforcement effort, things like that along the K-10 corridor. Now, to get it designated as a highway safety corridor, it does require legislative action. And we'll work to get that done during this upcoming legislative session. And if any of you, either on the committee or just in general, would like to know more about that effort or really be part of that effort or help support that effort, we have 2 ladies from KDOT sitting in the back, Lindsay and Tara, who'd be more than happy to talk with you. They're the ones who will lead our effort as far as KDOT is concerned with the legislature getting that done. Number 4, since the highway safety corridor will take some time to implement, again, it will push it through this legislative session. At the earliest, it'd be designated as a highway safety corridor this summer. We'll continue to look at ways to increase safety and law enforcement monitoring along K-10. So we'll work with KHP and local law enforcement to see if there's ways that we can help support and perhaps participate in additional cost of additional enforcement along the K-10 corridor. And finally, as the governor had asked us to do, we're continuing with the project along K-10 as we speak right now to pave the shoulders and add additional rumble strips or add rumble strips to the Douglas County portion of K-10.